right? Everybody can hear me now, right? Somebody put something in chat if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you on Zoom.
Awesome. So how do I get rid of this so I can go back to the taskbar? I need to click on Chrome. Yes, but I need to go to the other Chrome, the incognito Chrome. Well done. Okay. I think so. Can Zoom people see the whole screen? Feel free to say yes.
Yep.
Or something in chat.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All righty. Does anybody not know how to join in on Kahoot? If you have any questions about it, all you need to do is take a picture of that QR code, and that should bring you to where you can sign in. Or you can go to kahoot.it and enter the game pin up there. If you don't join in, this class will be rather boring, but that's okay. You still get the 1 CE. Okay. We'll probably wait about 2 minutes or so to make sure everybody's signed in. It's working for everybody? No questions? Let's see. Wish it would tell me a number of how many people are in. So 10 participants, then 4. So we should be, what, 16 people? 17 people? Right? That would be quite challenging. All right, 1 more minute. There we go. We're getting close to that number. Oh, thank you. So about 3 more. Again, you really don't have to join in. This isn't what counts your CE credit. So if you just wanted to attend here to get 1 hour CE credit and care less, don't join in. You don't have to. All right, let's go ahead and move forward unless anybody else is trying to figure that out. Nope. Okay. All righty. So we hit the start button. Woo. There we go. Okay. So this is the actual important form that you are going to want to go to. This is where you're going to get credit for the class. So go to that QR code, or if you can't get the QR code to work, that address, it's kind of an annoying address, but hopefully the QR code should work. And you need to put in your license and your last name. If you don't know your license, check out the division's website. If you don't put in your license, you won't get credit. I'm not as nice as you, Car, and go and find everybody's license number. You need to put in your license number and your last name with hyphen. Do you know if Gavin's coming? I mean, I know he's never been here before 9 o'clock ever. Yeah, I was planning on using his disruptiveness here. Is there anybody having any problem with the system? Ah, there you are. Yeah, that's right. If you want CE credit, oh, and then you need to get logged into Kahoot, but you need to put your foot name and license. Coot.
Greg, do you have two official CE courses that you teach, or is it kind of one and the same?
So the second one, this is still methods of property valuations. The second one, though, that I've sent to the division is just an investor class, really, really basic level investor class. And yeah, the CE over there has been taking their time approving anything. In fact, when they changed systems, they didn't actually move this class into the new system until the day before I was teaching it. So that was a little scary. People almost didn't get credit. No, in May when I was teaching it, they changed the systems in early May. And then it's a better system, but you know, they didn't change all the classes. Okay, we are at 14 participants and still need a few more licensees. Unless you don't care about the credit, then that is up to you. And then last name of Donner and Thorup, are you sales agents or associate brokers? Sales agent? Oh, Adrian Donner. Sales agent too? Okay. So when you do put in your license number for future reference there, you'll just want to put -SA00. Alrighty. Still waiting on a couple more. Gavin, did you get logged into Kahoot? Did that work? Yes. Oh, here, let me. I don't know how to go back, but there's a way to go back, I'm sure. Oh, game pin. So go to that website and then put in that game pin. Okay. And again, for those of you just joining us, you'll need to log into Kahoot if you want to participate in the class. Down at the bottom right corner, kahoot.it, and then put in the game pin 5627388. And if you want to get credit for the class, you'll need to scan this QR code, put in your license number and your last name. All right, is everybody good? Okay. Where is, oh, I hate Apple so bad. Okay. So the actual name of this class, as the division sees it, is the methods of property valuations. We put a name on top of that name to make it a little bit more fun. We will have a little bit of a Price is Right style at the end in valuing properties, but the main purpose of this class is to discover the different modes of valuation and how to share them with your buyer or seller and know of their weaknesses and their strengths. So that said, let's go ahead. Actually, I kind of want to do a little bit of a survey, which I believe is on the next slide. Okay, everybody's logged into Kahoot. Good, good. No thumbs down. Moving forward. Oh yeah. You'll want to, no problem. You'll want to log into Kahoot down here, kahoot.it. I don't know how to pause the question, so you might miss this question. But I want to know how long you've been in the industry, get a good gauge of to what group I'm teaching to, whether it needs to be simple or stupidly overly complicated. No, do not. So apparently one person here has been selling homes since before I was born. Awesome. Most of you are new agents. I don't know how to show the names on a poll. It will show the names of the score, but there's no score in a poll. So new agents, you're going to really enjoy this class, I think. Mr. Selling Homes since before I was born, you'll probably care less about this class. Going to be honest. So another poll. How many CMAs did you do in 2021? This number is how many full CMAs you did, not how many properties you glanced at and said it's probably worth that. Most frequently, you're in the red and blue because you don't need to do a CMA for every property you see. Mostly just for listings and offers. All right. That's awesome. 4 at 30 plus. Holy crap. Well, this next question will be very interesting. Ah, crap. Is there any Apple savvy people in the room? No? Yeah, nobody uses Apple except for Clay and Johnny. Let's try the Alt Tab thing. Nope. Technical difficulties. Well, no, it's an incognito window. And so I don't know. We got this one. No, that's not the incognito window. Did the Kahoot session close? Did anybody get kicked out? Well, how do you swipe it aside? Oh, that's a meeting. We don't want a meeting. If the meeting didn't close on your guys' end, then hopefully it's still live. Well, but we already had the incognito window open. Yeah, I do too. I believe there should be a riot to get a PC down here, not an Apple computer. We lost our window. Yes, and I believe it's still open because everybody's still in the class. Well, I should have kicked people out of the class, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't do anything. That's all right. I guess we will reopen. Freaking Apple. Okay, let's try this one more time. Okay, hopefully we won't have this problem. Oh wait, we don't want Kahoot.it, we want Kahoot.com. Site cannot be reached. Man. We are. Okay. Back into this. Log in. Yes. Changed my password because I couldn't get it to work. Okay. Okay. We're starting over again, but let's be as quick as we can to get caught up as we have a lot of ground to make up, short amount of time, and everybody wants to be out of here on time. Okay. If you can, everybody quickly go log back on here. Here is the QR code. Should be roughly 14 to 15 participants. Nice. I wonder who's logged in as me. You would assume. Oh, because you logged in. Okay, a few more seconds on this. How many times am I going to be in this class, Kevin? Okay. And nobody else is still working on this, right? Okay, moving forward. Okay, we've seen all this, so let's skip. This part, for any of you who showed up late, you'll want to scan this right away. This is how you get credit for the class. Make sure you enter your full license number, including the -SA00 or AB or PB00. Anybody not fill out this form yet? Nope. All right, moving forward. Hey, it says there's 2 incognitos. That's probably where it went. Never mind, we've already gone. Okay. Okay, we're good to go there. Okay, we already did this poll. Whatever, I guess just throw in an answer real quick. 5 seconds. Thank you. Okay, we already did this one too, I believe. Skip. No answers. Here's where I think we are. Have you completed a BPO? This is interesting to me because 4 of you said you did 30 plus CMAs. So you're a freaking rock star, or you do BPOs. Right, Becca. Okay. It is broker price opinion. It is a very similar thing to an appraisal done by a real estate agent for a heck of a lot cheaper and a heck of a lot quicker. So we'll go into that in a lot more detail in the class. No, not as cheap as a CMA. Nothing's as cheap as a CMA. I blundered that, how I put that question. So just if you're a team agent or if you're a solo agent. Sorry, I was very tired when I was working on this. I'm right now living on a Red Bull and a couple hours of sleep. All right, mostly team agents. Very good. You'll have a very different perspective, as I know some teams kind of automate much of the valuation process, and that's pretty awesome. This is about me. Been in since 2015. I don't do hundreds of BPOs anymore because they don't pay enough, but I used to. And I'm the tour host at the Central Tour. If you don't know what the Central Tour is, or the Utah Home Tour in general, so we go and check out a bunch of listings, provide a bunch of feedback, and that really helps the listing agent convey to their seller or modify for needed feedback they might have missed in adjusting the list price of their home. Very, very valuable to any listing that is stagnant, which is a lot right now. So to sign on to that, you head on over to UCAR's website. You head over to member services, down to board tours. And there's your options. So of the 4 tours, pretty much all I need to remember, Central is going to be between Linden and Provo, including Sundance. North and South are, North and South. Luxury home tour. This one changes a lot. I don't think that applies anymore because 1 million is definitely not a luxury home anymore. So talk to Christy if you have questions on it. She's awesome. She always answers. And I think it's closer to 1.5 now. Any questions on the board tour? No? All right. And there's usually free breakfast. So we all love free breakfast. All righty. Most common modes of evaluating a property. There's more than this, but these are the 5 most common. They're organized in the order that is the most valued by the general public and typically in the highest qualifications and taking the most time. So appraisal, we all know what that is. I'm not going to really jump into that more until we get to that one. Broker price opinion, that is where you get to make money for valuing properties. It's actually pretty fun when they're paying enough. They're not paying enough right now, especially with gas prices, but it's fun. Comparative market analysis, you've all done those. And we're going to go into all the weaknesses of comparative market analysis, which there are so many. Yes. Automated valuation model is going to be anything that does this through computers, no human interaction at all. Yes, Zestimate. These used to be terrible, by the way. They are not. I'm going to explain to you why. And you can actually use them as your ally in getting more leads, more listings. If you are threatened by these, oh crap, now what have we done? How did this even come up? Okay. If you're threatened by the automated valuation model, you need to understand it a little bit better. It's definitely going to help you generate better leads in a shorter amount of time. Tax assessment value, we're going to kind of skip that. I'll have like 2 words to say about that, but it's the simplest mode evaluation, and most nobody really cares about it because even the general public understands that that is way off. All righty. So appraisal. On the purposes of appraisal, a lot of people think that it's all about making sure the buyer got, what they're paying for, but it's definitely all about the protection to the lender and secondary markets. It's a good thing to have because without it, we'd have another 2008, which by a show of hands, how many agents have been in 2008? Good. Awesome. We're all on the same page. I don't know what happened either. It was bad. So yeah, appraisals have been changed a lot since 2008. I don't know this firsthand. I know this from researching it. And appraisals were changed to an arm's length approach through what's called an appraisal management company, which actually has been recently changed to allow lenders to reach out to appraisers directly, which is weird because we're reapproaching another 2008 in that sense, because the problem was that appraisers were giving values based on their connection with their lenders and not based on the anonymous isn't the word I want to use. Wait for the Red Bull to kick in. Yeah, we'll go with arm's length. I like that. I had another word. Unbiased. I like that one. So because, yeah, obviously, if you know a lender and you and that lender are best friends, just like if you know a home inspector, there's going to be a lot of problems taken into that report based on that relationship. So things are changing. We are going back to a similar mode of 2008. Hopefully we won't get that bad, but yeah, keep an eye out for that. The most common requests are obviously in the purchase, refinance. I've seen a lot in the divorce, probate. Yeah. So the 3 methods being a sales, income, and cost approach. Cost approach has 2 separate methods of replacement and reproduction. Has anybody here had a reproduction appraisal on any transaction? Yes. So if we couldn't apply it to this building, but let's say a temple. Let's say a building of any historic significance burns to the ground. So to build that building back to its original, quality, same materials, that's going to be a reproduction method. It's going to be more expensive. And to build that building to modern code is a replacement, going to be significantly cheaper. A reproduction method would only apply to buildings usually of a historic value, but there is also historic appraisals. We're not going to go into that because that's extremely rare. I don't even know anybody who's had one done. And I think they're specialized appraisers that do it. So back on track. Reproduction, if it has a value that is beyond the value of a traditional build, it is reproduction. If they're going to rebuild it up to current code, it is a replacement. Okay. Replacements are used on new builds if they don't have any other sales comps. Has anybody seen that? A replacement appraisal. It would be used commonly if it was a luxury property that had no other comps within maybe a 5-10 mile radius. And that would be a very complex, messy looking appraisal. And if you got 2 different appraisals, I bet you they're off by 10% each. It's hard to prove the value in a cost replacement in a very high-end home. But it's better than a sales comparison when there are no sales available. Income approach. Have you seen this on a duplex, triplex, fourplex? You like them? Do you think they make more sense in sales comparison? Well, the preferred method is typically sales comparison is the king of all, but income is very valuable. because an income fourplexes and triplexes are going to all have a very similar method and a similar buyer. And so the income proves the point to that similar buyer. Whereas a sales comparison is a more sweeping generalization. But a sales comparison obviously has the most accurate, up-to-date data, because in an income, the appraiser is doing his best to gather that data, but there's not really a set way of gathering and verifying rental prices. We've got a lot of systems, nothing as good as the MLS though. And the MLS, unfortunately, didn't capture the lease market. If you've been in other states, you'll notice that leases are handled by agents a lot, which is awesome. Our MLS and association didn't quite grab a hold of that. Maybe they will in the future. It'd be really cool. But yeah, we don't have very incredible rental data unless you want to go pay for it for a third party. And even then, the way they source that data is nowhere near as well verified as how the MLS sources our data for us. And so there's your three differences. Any questions? Oh, man. Great, and thank you.
Have you heard of appraisers going out there and knocking on doors to find rent comparables?
I have heard of that. I've never seen it firsthand, but I've heard of it. Have you had that happen before?
Yeah. There's no data, they're looking up. I actually had a rent analysis, a rent appraisal performed, an appraisal is like $500 or $600, but they do rent appraisals for like $100 to verify what this specific property should generate in income.
That's pretty awesome. That's a good appraiser right there.
They knock doors to find out kind of what the neighbors were paying.
That guy earned his fee. That's awesome. Yeah. So again, back to the data. It's just we don't have good enough data other than appraisers who are so ambitious to go knock out doors, which that's incredible. Okay, I think we have a question coming up. Do appraisers have a real estate license? 20 seconds on the clock. Sorry, you have a good point. Do they have to have real estate licenses? Ah, crap. True. Appraisers do have to have a real estate license. In fact, an appraisal's license supersedes a sales agent license because there are additional training. So every appraiser you talk to, you think's an idiot because they didn't go to real estate school, they did. They have more training than you and the same training as well. All righty. Oh, Kevin Helps takes the top. Oh, and I didn't even know I was playing right at 690. Go me. Are you playing both me? Oh, man. You got to catch up. Where'd my mouse go? I was hoping we could see this better, but maybe we do that guy right there. Okay. If you're like, you really can't see that. That's garbage. I don't really want to go into that if you can't see it. Or just kind of skip over that. That's the front page on the uniform residential appraisal, by the way. And most of you, me, for example, for the longest time, didn't care about all that, went straight to the sales value down at the bottom. But you can't really see it because it's showing up terrible. So moving on. That shows up way better. Okay. We're going to go into this a lot, and this is called adjustments. I would hope that every agent, if you learn one thing in my class, it's adjustments. An extremely valuable data-centered method for valuing properties. It has some problems, but overall, when done by a skilled agent or one that's been in the industry long enough to get correct numbers or data to value each item, it actually sets in pretty well in providing a correct price. So let me think. We have several slides on adjustments. I don't know how far we want to jump in right here because this is the hardest one to read. Appraisers use their own codes for a lot of things. You'll have to sometimes look them up or ask the appraiser. And so on this one, we're going to actually keep moving forward because we have so many adjustments to go over to a more simpler paper in the way we would put it together. Okay, here's a good question. How do appraisers value bathrooms? If more than 3 of you get this right, I will be amazed. Congratulations. You guys read the appraisal reports. Wow, congrats, guys. Well done. Yes, they give the same value to 3/4 as a full bathroom. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I thought you meant it changed, like this is not the case. I'm like, and see, I've only been in for 7, so I was a little newbie. I still hadn't read an appraisal report by that time. Yeah. So good job, everybody. And moving on forward. Yes, go ahead. We're going to go into a lot of good detail on that. But I'll tell you my simplest answer right now is that adjustments are based on the differences and not based on a singular quality. Meaning a luxury unit versus a affordable unit. The differences in adjustments are completely different because you can't give a singular quality to an adjustment because then it doesn't apply across a broad range. That's a great question. We're going to go into that more because it mostly a $500,000 townhome, a C2 full bathroom. I'd probably put that at 8,500. So, well, we're getting to that, Becca. But since we're here, we'll explain it. In appraisal reports, you have C1 through C6 and Q1 through Q6. C1 through C6 is referring to condition. C1 being the best, C6 being the worst. C1 is new build exclusive. You can't have C1 if it's renovated, it's new build. C2 is renovated and near perfect condition. And then it goes up from there. C6 is uninhabitable. But yeah, you work the ranges in between them. Q1 is highest level of quality build. I don't think I've ever valued a Q1 home because they don't exist. Not even a luxury would fall as a Q1 most of the time because, again, quality of the build. Residential doesn't need overdone quality. It needs good enough. So it's typically a luxury still going to land in Q2. And then Q6 is a terrible quality, something that some DIYer put together and is barely holding up. So there is your quality and your condition. It'll help you out to remember that a lot because as you see on the appraisal reports, which I wish we could go back, but I have no freaking clue how to go back. But on the appraisal reports, all conditions should be a one-off and all build qualities should be a one-off. If they're more than a one-off, typically an appraisal management company or lender won't accept it. So for example, we have a C3 townhome. All the comparables need to be between a C2 and a C4, ideally a C3. Any numbers more off than that, it's not comparable. You can't really count it unless that is your best possible scenario of using a C5 or a C1. But
Is there an objective way to measure those?
yes, it's funny you ask that. So a lot of them have an actual written out uniform report on it. I know appraisers have it, but for the majority, you won't need anything further than C4. C4 is going to cover almost everything between C1 and C4. Like I said, C6 is uninhabitable. C5 would be darn near next to it. And then C4 is going to be your home in pretty serious disrepair. And then C3 is the average home. Yeah. And so it's a good system. And it really does help you see how the appraiser got their value. Again, those are only supposed to ever be a one-off. Okay. I am so good at my class. Thanks, Becca. Anybody have any questions on that? Yes, go ahead. That's a good question. And this again comes down to the differences of the comparable. So for example, if you're taking a 3-bed, 2-bath townhome, comparing it to comparables of 4-bed, 3-bath, or significantly different, you have to give that value a higher level of difference, because let me make sure I'm not explaining this in a dumb way, because I do explain things in a dumb way often. Yes. So it's funny you ask that, because a lot of this later in the class, I'm not going to want to give my value on adjustments, because we're going to go into how we get to our adjustment. So if I give you my value, I know we're getting there, but I don't want to go into too much onto my values, because I really want to help you guys create your values on adjustments. Bam. I'm sorry. I will give you an answer after class, but I don't want to go too much into my perspectives, because I feel like that's kind of robbing of the idea of how to create the adjustments. Okay. All right, there it is on the appraisal. That's what it says. What I already told you. The 3/4 bath is given the same value. So when you're telling your sellers that they need a bathtub because it's worth more to the appraisal, it's not. But it is probably worth more to the market value. That's fair to say. All righty. So it is the most accurate form of valuation, because it uses the most uniform approach, the most data-driven approach. Who here loves spreadsheets? We got 3. Becca, you love spreadsheets. I know you do. When collecting data, what is a very valuable way to do this? Is it better to have a drop-down box, or better to have people put in their own answers? When collecting data, so you're surveying data, answers from people, is it better for people to type in their answer, or to any data? This is a very general answer. Is it better to just have a drop-down box, or for them to type in their own answer? Drop down, bam. Because drop down you can use to analyze the data, because they will all be identical answers. For example, if somebody answered yes and then yes with a period, technically speaking, that's 2 different answers. That's where appraisals come in that are so valuable, because appraisals use a very uniform approach. They are the drop-down box here. They are not using slightly different methods every time. Appraisals are very streamlined, and they provide the best data because of that. Now, obviously, there is more flaws given in a rapid fluctuating market, but overall, you can't really beat that approach to data. They are crazy expensive, 10 times as expensive as a BPO. They take a while. They stay attached to the home, FHA. It kind of causes a huge problem for you. Does anybody know how long they stay attached to the home? I figured this out the other day. Bam. Becca knows all the answers. And they can disclose bigger problems in underwriting. And that part's no fun. Okay. Moving on. Oh, 9:51. Kidding me? We got to go so quick. Oh, go away. What just happened? I need my button back. Okay. Okay.
On the FHA appraisal sticking for 6 months. If someone gets an appraisal, FHA, it's going to be a FHA loan value for 6 months. 5 months later, they want to get an FHA loan, that still applies. But if it's a conventional, someone tries to buy a conventional loan, it resets.
Yes. Yep. Making conventional way more superior for the seller, especially. Well, we definitely are going to get into doing the CMAs. We're running a little bit behind because it's 9:51. So we had a lot of technical difficulties. So we're going to speed up a lot and get to the doing of CMAs because that's going to be a lot more valuable. So BPOs. This is actually one of the items I would want you to learn a lot from because it is quite valuable. If you want to get paid to value properties, it's not a lot. You'll make more in resale any day of the week. Don't think you're going to make a good living on BPOs. Not going to happen. But this is commonly brought in through a refinance. Is probably one of the most common PMI removals. It's a really good system, but it depends so highly on the agent or broker's expertise, making it very flawed. Because as long as you've been an agent for typically 1 year, some of them are 2 years, you can do this. I don't care about anything else. So very flawed in that way, but can be top-notch in its valuation because this approach is focused on market value rather than historic sales value. Okay. So now we're getting into the most important part about this is how every asset management company, not every, but it's pretty general. This will always be number one in your approach evaluation. These two are kind of tied, but this one typically is on top. Every asset valuation company will change their rubric slightly, but it's pretty dang close to this. And this is probably the best way for you to approach your own CMAs in how to value a property. Location, always number one. Use, highest and best use. If you don't know what highest and best use is, it's going to be simply that if this residential property is able to be zoned commercial. That's about all it is. So make sure you're evaluating for that. The age of the sale, we're not talking about the age of the property, but how recent the sale was. In this market, 30 days is typically what most asset valuation companies will ask for, is that the sale needs to be within 30 days because the market is shifting. Style, Rambler, whatever. Then the age of the home. Then if it had an HOA. This one's pretty interesting. This applies specific to BPOs. I wouldn't apply that to your CMAs. That is above grade square footage. Nationally, they don't value basements. They think basements are worthless, and they think Utah's crazy for putting value on it. Utah loves basements. So in a national BPO, they don't care about basements. They want to know about above grade size. But yeah, in your CMAs, obviously, basements are important. Lot size. Then all the way down, finally, we approach beds and baths condition, assuming the condition's one off. If the condition's more than one off, this goes way up here. But that's assuming the condition is very similar. And then days on market and garages. Any questions on that? That's definitely the order that you'll see most common when working with any of the major companies. What's that? Yeah, how recent it was. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yep. Yeah, this is yes. Yep. All right, let's keep moving then. Okay, so we got that criteria down because that will be more important as we go forward. Yep, should be pretty easy because we just did it. 10 seconds on the clock. Oh, you were one of the 4 that got it wrong. That's sad. Just kidding. Okay. Oh. Okay, types of BPOs. We'll just touch on this real quick. If you are interested in BPOs, these are the 5 most common types. Drive-by is by far the most common, pays you roughly $50. Should be done within 30 minutes. Interior, usually between $75 to $90. Typically pays 70 Oh, sorry. Typical time frame is going to be about an hour on that one. Property inspection, literally 5 minutes, pays $20 usually. Data collection pays about $200, but takes about 2 hours. And then occupancy check pays between $10 to $15. Shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes. Moving on. All right. Oh, no. What did we do?
Oh, no.
Okay. So when I went to incognito tab, yeah, there was that 2 there. I wonder, okay, so we got a 3 open windows. Kevin, you're the most Apple savvy person. So tell me how this works. It's there. We need to get it there, and we are running out of time. Okay, while Kevin tries to fix this, I'll talk a little bit more about BPOs since we are short on time. So in a drive-by BPO, you're literally driving up to the property, snapping a picture of the property, driving off, and doing a full valuation for the property. It's a very simple, streamlined method, but it does get a little spooky in the sense that everyone thinks you're some kind of creep sneaking pictures in the neighborhood, because you literally just drive up to a property, snap pictures around you, and drive off. So that part's always kind of funny. I've seen more than a handful of agents posted in neighborhood pages as, watch out for this creep. He's just snapping pictures of my home and driving off. We're not that creepy. We actually have a purpose. But the idea is that you're not to disturb the borrower or the occupant. You're there to get a picture, assess the condition, and report it to the lender. That's the idea behind it. If you're bothering the borrower, it actually creates a bigger complication for the lender, because sometimes the lender is calling on you to do these drive-bys because they're suspicious of a problem. So they don't want the borrower to have any knowledge of you being there. So the next one was interior. That's a lot like an appraisal. It's pretty much identical to an appraisal, except, woo! Thank you. Oh, we have 4 things in the chat. Yeah, forget about the types of things. Let's go down to the chat. Right click. Adrian, you knew all the answers. I wish we would open chat first. Thank you. Now I don't know how to get it off. There we go. Okay. And Kevin Helps continues to know all the answers. Okay. So this is how a BPO would appear. You really can't see this very well either. Can anybody read any of this back there? Nope. Yeah, we're just going to skip that then, because it's kind of useless if you can't read it. But that's how a BPO would appear for most companies. Okay. So big differences here: less training, subject expertise, opinions vary seriously widely, but it's crazy cost effective and done very quickly. Turnaround time is often 3 days. Okay, what is the most commonly accepted format for all property valuations? Hopefully everybody gets this right. This one is definitely a simple right and wrong answer, but I don't feel like they actually teach it enough in real estate school. So for you new agents to get this wrong, I don't blame you. They should teach this more and better. All right. No one got it right. We've got we've got some work to do. It is 3 solds and 3 under contract or active. That is the most commonly accepted format of valuing the properties. There is none. I mean, you're technically right, because again, in real estate school, they don't teach this. Well, they do. There was one section on it. I remember it, but they barely go over it. But if you're getting paid to do evaluation, that's the mode that they use, including appraisers. Okay. So CMAs, what's happened here? It's zoomed in. Yeah. Do we all know CMAs? Because based on that, we don't know CMAs. The reason there is this standard approach of 6 comparables selected, which you can definitely do more. You can do 9, 20, whatever. It just gives you more data. But the standard is selected at 6 because one should be superior, one should be inferior, and one should be very similar. That's why the standard is 6. And the reason that 3 should be sold and 3 active under contract, because the 3 active under contract should be forecasting the sale, while the 3 sold should be proving the sale. That is why the standard exists. If you're not using that as to a normal standard, say, for example, in your CMAs, you only stick to sold comparables, you are running into a problem in proving the future value of your home. Because especially in a rapidly changing market, if you only use sales comparables today and you came at it from a mathematical approach through adjustments, you would probably be wrong on the value because the market is changing so quickly. So it is extremely important that you have your 3 active under contract or sold, which wonderfully, as the market's changing and inventory increases, those options are becoming much more available and the comps are getting better. So let's see, requests for listing appointments, blah, blah, blah. Still relying on skill of the agent. You already know all these things. So we got a lot of new agents in here. Has anybody sat down with you to do a CMA as a new agent? You can just say yes or no. No right answer, just a poll. Where'd all our new agents go anyway? So far, nobody sat down with you one-on-one to do a CMA. Awesome. Okay. Very good. This is good. This is why KW is a training company or a technology company, whatever we claim to be. Yeah, most agents do not get that training, to be honest, where they sit down and they learn one-on-one with an experienced agent, and it shows. And so we've kind of got that out of the way. We're going to jump into adjustments. Yes, adjustments is where we want to be. Okay, so this map is provided by Cloud CMA. Sorry, adjustments is the next slide. Do any of you use Cloud CMA? Awesome. This is the most people I've ever seen use Cloud CMA. It is the most effective of all the CMA builders, and it's free. By effective, I mean the prettiest. It allows you to grab data the fastest. It even has adjustments, and it has so many templates you can use to create your listing packet. And so as far as getting a fast system that typically provides results, stick to Cloud CMA. The MLS has one. It looks more business minded. I've actually used it a couple times for those clients that I perceive are more about the numbers. Doesn't look as pretty though. Cloud CMA is where it's at. So when building your CMAs, if you haven't used Cloud CMA, please get familiar with it. You'll like it. You'll love how much prettier your CMAs look. Okay, so moving on, I think adjustments is next. Gosh, we got to hurry. Okay, so back to your question about adjustments. I'm just going to read it because I like the way it was put together. Many think that adjustments are assigning the dollar value to a generic trait of the property. If we view adjustments through this paradigm, then the value or difference of, say, between a condo and a luxury property would be static rather than exponential and fluctuating based on its common use or rare features, as it should be. Yeah, it's a run-on sentence, I know. You don't need to judge it, but you get the point. Adjustments. I'm running out of breath here. I need another Red Bull or something. Okay, they are the values that we provide, as you saw in that paper where we put a number. We say a bathroom, a townhouse of 500,000 valuing a bathroom at 8,500. Very generic, definitely not the correct answer, but it's a starting point. Okay, so here we have that example. Pretty similar. 2-car garage in a townhouse versus a 1-car garage in a townhouse is extremely significant. That value is going to affect it by more than 1%, maybe even close to 2%. Take the same thing, apply it to a luxury unit 5 garages versus 4 garage base, you might not see any effect to value. Your value effect is probably within the 0.5% or less range because this is functional and this is functional. So the value cannot be as great as the value of 1 to 2 because we're talking about functionality versus, yeah, it's nice to have. So you cannot give a static value to garages because that's not fair at all in the way you value between a luxury and a townhouse. That makes sense? This is important. This has a lot of questions to it. We're getting there. It's coming up on the next slide. Ouch. Woo. Woo. That burned just a little bit. It only burned a little bit though. Okay. I would love that. Kevin, I thought you were my heckler handler. I know. This has been the best class ever. I actually enjoy it. So here's your 4. Who's providing the adjustments? The big question, who is providing these answers? Oh, you're wrong. It's not Greg Lemon. It's definitely not you, Carr. You think we would have learned by now. I'm not providing you the adjustments. The MLS is your only source. Definitely not KW. Okay. Are we listening for the big reveal here? If I can click the next button. Come on. Come on. There is a starting point. Did you hear that? Did anybody hear that? No? You missed it? Oh, you missed the most important part of the class. That's unfortunate. Yeah, you think that would help? Yeah. Let's do that then. I would love it. I would love to be able to go over this part with you because this has been the problem most of the class is that we can't talk about adjustments because we can't see them. So, oh, that is so much better. Thank you. We should have done that earlier. Okay. This is an MLS CMA. And these, if you go to the MLS, are going to be the archived values of adjustments. Where do you find the answers? Where do you find the adjustment values? Where do you find them? You go to the MLS. You go to CMA. You go to last archived values. Are these correct? No. Yes, they are not correct. Thank you. That's why they're archived. They are a good general basis of where to point at for your values. That is what they are. They are not infallible, but they are not useless either. Make sure that you are focused on these numbers comparing against your current price point of a home, square footage, and functionality. What does that all mean? Let's go to the next slide. Yes. Yes. Yes, they are. They're really not super far off. They're actually pretty good baselines. If you work with them. Oh, I'm glad you asked that question because there's something I want to cover more. So in adjustments, now that we can see them, if the number is a positive number, that is an inferior feature to the home. If the number is a negative number, it's a superior feature to the home. So as you see here, let's run simple math here. We have this unit here at 5 bedrooms. We are giving a bedroom a $1,000 value. This unit has 4. So we're going to give it $1,000 of value because it's an inferiority to the subject. This one's going to get $2,000 of value because it's inferior to the subject by 2 bedrooms. Moving down the line, you see that same streamlined method approach. Square footage. Again, not always accurate, but here's a good question for you. Is your square footage in an adjustment going to be the square footage you use for a sales price, as in what's the average price per square foot? Are you going to use that number here in your adjustments? Thank you, Angie. Couldn't have said that more correct. So this number should be significantly lower, between usually about a third and a quarter in the actual price, because it's not accounting for everything. It's not all inclusive. This one should always be quite a bit lower. If you value basement square footage to the same as above grade square footage, you're wrong. I'll just tell you that right now. It's not even close. Not even close. This range is actually pretty good. 90-10. I'd say that's pretty correct. Sometimes I probably say it could go up to like 90-20, 90-30 between this number and that number if you got like a daylight basement. But it is so significant in difference. Do not consider finished square footage in the basement anywhere similar to above grade. If you're doing that, you're definitely not approaching it from a data-driven viewpoint. Down here, here's that number we were talking about, total price per square foot. The MLS automatically calculates that, plugs it in here for you. They don't give you a box to fill it in, because if you were to fill it in a box right here, you would be skewing all these numbers, because now you're basing your value off of one attribute rather than several. So here's a point of data that you're not going to fill out. And obviously you're not going to fill out gross living area, which gross living area, I believe the MLS holds this the same way. They do. Gross living area is only referred to as above grade square footage, even if we have areas that are livable. Okay, year built. So $500. This number is actually pretty good. I still use that number, roughly $500 to maybe $800, depending on if it's new or not. So for example, a 2015 house versus a 2012 house, that year build is going to be higher than 500, because there's a lot of things that took place recently that might adjust the styling. So I would give that one more of 800. But if we're comparing a 1972 house to a 1965, I'd probably give that value much lower in the 200, because the differences in how people perceive the value of the house are significant. So this one is a sliding scale that's going to be higher based on how recent the house is, and lower if the house is older. This holds so much more value than people give it for, especially if we're talking between 1 to 2 car garages. Again, back to that example. If you're going between 4 to 5 garages, your value differential is not 5,000 most of the time. But if you're going between 1 to 2 garages, your value differential is probably going to be around the $10,000 mark. It's a huge difference for the sake of functionality versus the sake of what you may want.
Have you made like a master document or something with these nuances, or is this all in your brain?
I have made that document, and maybe we should go over that. But again, I'm not going over adjustments, because I'm trying to get to the criteria of how you create your adjustments, which is most important. Angie, you're a genius. Well, we're running out of time, so I got to hurry. But this last number right here is my favorite number, because this is the sum from a mathematical approach of valuing the properties. When you pull in a CMA, and this is what makes the MLS slightly superior to Cloud CMA. Cloud CMA does not do this. The MLS does. Creates an automated calculation of the values property. If your adjustments are right where you think they should be, based on your expertise, this calculation should approach it near perfectly, assuming condition and build quality are one-off or less. If it's not the case, you may need to reconsider how you're valuing your adjustments. So for example, right here, hold on. This is the subject property, the property we're trying to discover the value of. These three are our comparables. These are known values. This is an unknown value. Based strictly on a mathematical approach, we come to this value. Is that value correct? Is it going to sell for that? Yes. Why isn't it going to sell for that? Okay, that sounds good too. I like that. But really it's here we have values that are very generally approached and not done within a more systematic approach, which we're going to go into. All right, catch my breath. 10:17. Holy crap, we got to hurry. Okay, where do we get those values from? Has everyone in this room used the statistics tab on utahrealestate.com? Yes. Yes. Okay, so this is where you're going to find your values from, and this is the best way to approach it. Wish I would have got more slides on this because I can see this is the part everybody cares about. We'll have to talk more after class because we're also running out of time. So if we go into, let me see, I can't remember what the next slide is.
Just keep going. If anybody has to leave, they can just go.
Oh, we all got to go to the housing summit.
If they die, let them die.
No, wait, let's go back. Oh, nobody cares about the pros and cons, right? Yeah. Man, skipping that. This is the most annoying place to put a button. Okay, we want to go back to the CMAs though. Well, I don't have those slides, but I'm going to do my best to explain it to you. So the sales per month report, that's probably your most data-driven report if you're in the statistics. You're able to download that as a spreadsheet. Trying to explain this to the best of my ability without slides that I probably should have put in because this is the most interesting piece of information. You go into that sales per month report, you identify a very specific geographic area that is also specific to your price range and your style of home. You can then take that data, plug that data into a spreadsheet, and average out the attributes of homes in that area. It doesn't take as long as I'm making it sound like, especially once you created a template spreadsheet that will load up this data automatically. But from there, if you take, say, a sample group of 10 homes, let's simplify this. Let's say the villas across the street. I grabbed 10 condos, 10 sales. These are only sales because I'm not doing my adjustments based off the under contract and active. You can't do adjustments based off of those yet. You're doing one step at a time. So you're only grabbing cells. And then you take all that data, plug it into a spreadsheet. You'll be able to easily splice down based on that spreadsheet, the value of a per bedroom at the villas. And now you have, let's say at the villas, that price is going to be a $6,000 bedroom. You now know the adjusted price of the villas is $6,000 to plug in because you put it into a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet averaged out the number and your adjustments make perfect sense. They're not conjecture. They're not what you feel is right. They're based on a multitude of data that averages out the answer. So sales per month report is where the best place to get your adjustments are. Again, you have to also do your best to make sure you're accounting for the quality and condition. That's hard when you grab a large sample group. So if you grab 10 condos, one of those is falling apart, C4. Now your data is very heavily skewed. You grab 10 condos, one of them 6 months back, very different market. Your data is heavily skewed. It's the same kind of approach in a CMA, but more micromanaged because you're trying to average out the numbers of attributes, which is found again in the sales per month report. Yeah.
Do you think it's better to express the adjustments than everything you express as a percentage? And that's not really actually more accurate. Right?
Yes, I love that you put it that way. Yep. So percentages are going to be much more of an exponential to work with the value of the property versus a flat number. However, every report's going to ask for a flat number. And so you can have the percentages, and it's a very good way to look at it. Just make sure when you're inputting it into your CMA, whether it's Cloud CMA or the MLS, you're using a flat number. So just calculate for that. Yeah, anybody have any questions on that? Did I just kind of lose people on that, or did that actually make sense? Made sense?
Do you have a spreadsheet that you've created
Yes.
that you want
Yes, but I want you to do it one time by yourself and then come talk to me. Because what I want you to do is create this and understand its functionality. And if you don't understand, you can definitely come talk to me. I'd love to talk to you about how I create mine. And again, I will gladly share mine, but I just want you to do it one time because adjustments are based on the expertise of the broker. And they are, again, not a total number given broadly across the range. So create your own and then let's talk. And you can use mine all you want. And it can be as simple and boring as you want it to be. That's okay. I'm just glad that you went and created one. Okay. No more questions. Moving on to automated valuation model. We have like no minutes left. So I'm just going to be really quick. Automated valuation models are incredibly valuable now. And they are no longer a system that we could blame and say, well, our sellers think the house is worth this because Zillow told them. Even in fact, Zillow, Redfin, First American, they're all actually pretty correct, typically within 2% now. And wait a minute, I think you're wrong and I can prove it. Well, I grabbed these cells last night from the MLS in no particular order. Wait a minute. This is the question first. So, of the 6 companies, which 3 use? Oh man, I gave away 3. Oh, at least that's going to make it easier for you. There's only 3. So that's a good point. And if you pick KW for that purpose, I'd say you're right. I didn't mark it as one of the ones that are correct. Yeah. Yeah. So if you picked KW for KW cash offers, you are correct. That is an automated valuation model. Yeah. Did they remove it? Oh, well, that's lame. Okay. Yeah. So these are going to be this is the largest real estate data company in the world. This is probably a close second or third. And then CoreLogic, another real estate valuation company. Those hold all the data you could ever hope to have. And that's why their models are actually pretty correct. We don't care about the score because, oh, wait a minute, we do. Adrian's taking the lead. Well done. Okay, this is what I want to talk to you about with the automated valuation models. These were pulled yesterday. So sales at 285. Zestimate 285, Redfin 292. I don't know where Remind's pulling this data, so ignore that. This, by the way, is found on Remind. Remind has their own valuation that is clearly incorrect. It's not as well built as Zestimate, Redfin, or First American. But here you have it. Automated valuation models are getting right up to par in getting the correct information. So we can no longer say they're not very smart. Yeah, this is from Remind. I think so. Yeah, that looks like the ones in the south side of Provo. So, oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, Remind gathers all these companies' data. For some reason, this one's always off. I don't know where they're sourcing their data, but the other data that they're sourcing from companies is pretty correct. The higher value, they're estimated. Yeah. But yeah, you'll notice Redfin, Zestimate using very, very good models. First American too. First American at 392, sells at 391. These are incredibly close to assessing the actual value. And they don't have anybody involved and they take 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. Yep. So well, so there's a couple on here. The next one I think is the data was updated before the close date, but you'll notice here, so Redfin and Zestimate do have full MLS access. So they are getting the exact data from the firehouse. First American does not have that data, but they have a much wider berth of data than Zillow and Redfin have access to because they're a title company. And they own a lot of real estate related companies. They're not just First American. And so every American. Yeah, that's correct. This one here is a single family because we think single families might be more immune to this kind of valuation. Not at all the case. Still nailing down the price pretty accurately. Look at this sold date 6/14 is when it was put in 6/6, off by about 1%. Automated valuation models are very correct, and you can't be discounting them anymore, or you might look like the crazy one. So that's what I got to say about automated valuation models. And also, Cloud CMA used to have a cool thing that was free. They charge for it now. I believe they call it Cloud Attract. But you've all seen Boomtown uses it, where you say, what's my home worth? That is such an impressive lead generation tool. Used to be free. I don't think it's free anymore. Is there with Cloud Attract? I was thinking that the Cloud CMA moved it to Cloud Attract. Perhaps I may have done it correctly. Okay. Yeah. Are you sure it's just because they just think Angie's awesome? They give it to you for free, or? Okay. Yeah. Then when they look up my profile, they want to charge me. Okay. So they are, yeah, they're simplifying the data back to you, making the sell a little harder. And so, yeah, Cloud Attract is more of their new suite. I haven't used it. Has anybody used it? I would love to hear feedback. So, but it's kind of what they're trying to replace to a program to sell to you as agents. So automated valuation models, don't discount them. Extremely valuable. They're done also in the valuing of properties for refis sometimes, PMI removal. If your bank ever just says you're approved when you're talking about a HELOC, it's because automated valuation model kicked in. That automated valuation model is typically provided by Black Knight or CoreLogic. Both of those companies have very sophisticated systems, and they are very accurate. CoreLogic, when you're doing a BPO, you're usually doing it for CoreLogic. The company will have a different name, but then ultimately who gets that data is a company called CoreLogic, and they probably have endless amounts of real estate data submitted by agents and appraisers. Okay, moving on. Crap, it's 10:20. And it takes like 5 minutes to click this button. Okay, surely nobody cares about this, right? This is the most broad approach to value, and nobody even, yeah, we're just going to skip this because we're already late. It's very inaccurate. I had no idea about that, actually. Wow. Oh, just an investment property. Okay. Wow. Jeez. Wow. That's good information. Wow. The county's after our data. Okay, so we're behind time anyway, so let's just kind of skip this. We all know the difference and their purpose. Basically, in short, don't slander other valuation models. They have their purpose, and if you slander them and don't understand them, you might look very much so in the wrong to your buyer or seller. I don't know if we really have time for these. If we did, feel free to, if you want to go, you can go right now. Your C is recorded. You're good to go. If you want to stick around and look at these can anybody see that? You see? Yeah, but that would screw it up because you have the sales price right up there. Yeah, that's the problem. I really wanted to do some of these, but I don't know how we can do it when, yeah, at a systematic approach of using adjustments So maybe if you want to do what Becca's doing and come up and take a look at it, feel free. If you don't care to walk up here and take a look at it and want to be done, you're good too. You still got your CE credit. But we're going to try and guess here on how we would value this using adjustments.
Yep, we're better than that. We're better than that. We're better than that. Oh, we're not that good. This is our time.
But Angie, who sells more homes here?
I feel like I'm doing right. But I don't know enough.
There's probably people listening who don't know which one of you sells more homes, and that either sounded like really humble or super full.
For the record, Angie sells about 10 times as many homes as I do.
Angie, who sells more?
So I can't do it without other comparables.
Yeah, so this is where, yeah, we would know because I tried to get other comparables and then I realized, well, that was kind of messing things up even more. So unfortunately, this part I kind of threw together and said, well, if you have a computer,
Let's play with it.
go into Cloud CMA.
Right. Ooh, hardwood. Well, definitely
Okay, so-
7,000 million.
My action step is to go in and pull the data from the, it's called the cell, it's just.
Sales
the
per month.
Sales per month and export it and then do like an average, right? of
Yes.
that, So I can understand how much that would affect my adjustments.
You
Yes.
wanna know what you're
I'll
tracking,
do that.
right?
Mhm.
You get a comp that has one less bedroom, then you pull one with 5 bedrooms and one with 6.
Mhm.
Right?
All about functionality use.
The first bedroom down might only be worth $1,000, but you start to go bedroom 2 and bedroom 3.
No, exactly. And so you're checking what's the difference between this
Yep.
comp and this other. Yeah.
Exactly. You should be teaching this class, Angie. This is exactly what I'm trying to convey. What I'm trying to convey, but I'm failing to convey, I think, is that yes, static numbers don't exist in adjustments and they never will.
I'm legitimately angry that anyone but you taught me CMAs when I started with that. Now, you weren't an agent for still. That's pretty understandable. Never had CMAs taught me this. I'm furious. I've done the PSA course twice.
Right? Well, but again, technically to sell a listing, you just have to be competitive, you know?
Yeah, but I'm not asking about being competitive. I'm asking about understanding CMAs.
Yeah.
I know how to sell listings. That's a different skill.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they don't teach it that way. And I kind of wish they did. So I actually learned it through a lot of discussions with other appraisers and then YouTube videos. Because YouTube never lets me down.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that.
Oh, wait. Actually, if you're guessing, I think it's on Kahoot with a cool little slider.
Wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. So they went up May 17th. They went under contract for 5 days. So it's not likely it was a reduction.
Don't forget about that.
Although, well, that is a good point, actually.
I know, that's why it's actually hard to guess,
Yeah,
because.
I'm still gonna guess it went up, not down.
Okay.
What city are we in?
We have, we're in 2003.
I'd be in Lehigh.
Do it.
Okay, hold on. You ready?
Okay, is everybody ready to throw in a price?
I have my number in mind.
Because this all will go away when I hit next.
Slider.
Yeah, we're getting fancy.
I can't reconnect.
Where do I think? it goes?
Oh, Maybe shout it out.
You're not on Kahoot, Mason?
I was
All right, shout out your answer.
635.
635. Okay.
630 is what I said.
Oh, this is kind of like Price is Right. This is the most Price is Right we've got.
What is it doing right now? What is it doing? So for this last list?
Bam.
Oh,
Well, look, 2 of you guessed right here. So, I mean, it wasn't way off. I mean, and these valuations are pretty close when we're talking about that high of a price.
Who's that one on the left? That's Price is
I think
Right.
if I hit next, let's see. Cash money too. Congrats.
He's
Not-
upstairs.
He's just throwing in answers.
Cash, get your butt down here.
All right, two more if you want to do it.
Funny.
Feel no obligation.
The most fun I've ever had in my life. This is what CMA
So
questions.
750, American Ford, 45, 26 on square footage, 6 beds, 5 baths, built in 2007. 2-car garage, zone, 95%.
Yeah, this one wouldn't fit on there. I think these were both full service agents on the buy and the list side though, with a 2.5% BAC.
What day of the week was May 13th? It was a Friday. So 9:15 on a Thursday, under contract on Friday.
I'm ready. Do this.
Okay, is everybody ready? Screen's going away.
2007, so big square footage.
Really big.
So they priced it low.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. I guess you can just yell out your value at the 1 second mark, Mason.
Wait, this started at 750, but the opening price, the list price was 700, right?
Was it?
715. Put it in. I don't know.
You got a joint
Oh,
right
and
there.
Yelling is. Oh, come on.
Oh,
wait.
nope, not quite.
What is who's doing?
Oh, I said 35. I was so close.
So close. So look at that.
Good job, Kevin. Helps.
All right, one more, and then that's pretty much all there is for this.
343 women, May 11, under contract, May 14, that's a weekend sale. No, it's not.
Square feet, 2001 bath, built in 42, no car garage,
Oh my gosh.
345.
I'm gonna
We
say
have multiple offers on the table. Consider highest and best, blah, blah, blah.
362.
This was also full service agents, I believe, at 2.5% BAC.
362.
So are you trying to tell us that VAC matters? Is that what I'm wondering?
Does it? Would a sales per month report prove that BAC matters?
You can't.
We've been trying to search it.
You made a face.
Why can't it?
Just can't search VAC.
You can't search it. Doesn't mean you can't grab the data.
How?
If you export the entire report, it does have BAC on there. Yeah. So then you can filter it.
367.
Okay, let's go.
367.
I gotta go to the housing summit.
Why can't I? Why don't I get it over there? Can I go to the housing company? Oh my gosh. that's disgusting.
Wow. Can't believe you have a dirty Tesla. That's not very Tesla owner of you.
Doesn't it clean itself?
Yeah, right.
Oh.
I gotta bring Brady.
Okay. In 3, 2, 1.
Oh, wait.
I was not paying. I don't even remember. This. Oh, this one has quite a rating on it. 367. Oh, I would think 367. So it'll be 363. That's the next one down. This feels more like this.
Yeah, it is. There needs to be more data. I was just running out of time with it.
Don't lose faith. It might come back up.
Oh,
Garbage. Garbage.
wait a minute. Oh, yeah, this is actually not what I.
2021.
No.
400.
What happened? What happened? I actually wanted to go to the last question for feedback. Oh, well, if you have feedback, please leave me feedback. But I really, I tried.
My feedback is we need to update this thing. I did Ignite a
The
couple
second
of
half of this
Yeah.
project
ago,
is
and
going
Yeah, it was fun teaching. Thanks for being here. know too much. You know everything.
I was Kevin. I do not want to know a lot.
That was so awful. I was great, but I'm the whole time.
Feedback.
I
I was
Haven't
more
actually
houses than anybody in this room.
At the moment.
My name's Becca Summers.
Anyways, but yeah, so it was really good, but I think everyone got caught up
You just sounded exactly
on
like
other stuff, but that stuff was helpful to get to the point about your class,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
I was trying to make sure people were creating their own adjustments because that's the most important
So,
thing with the class.
you know,
Yeah, which is really
the
cool.
issue you were trying to address,
Okay,
and I
I
think
have to
can't
go.
be addressed. You have brand new agents in here. and Becca Summers, the one and only.
Yeah.
Becca Summers. And I think what you were doing was trying to bring all those groups.
And it's near impossible.
Yeah, and if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. Because the first half, yeah, the second half was Shakespeare. It was so good. When you got into the adjustments and stuff, I'm literally furious that the PSA course never got into that. Because when you explain it, like, of course that's what I should do. I've been doing this for 7 years, 6 years, some number of years. I cannot remember what year I started. With 8 years, 9, 10.
Wow, 10, wow.
Homie +2, I think.
Well, that's the part I really wanted to touch more on the evaluation models, because that's what they're doing. They're segregating the data and they're very intelligently putting it back together. And as realtors, we're not doing that. We're just saying, are we the most competitive? You
Well,
know?
yeah, and the thing is, so Becca and I have had this argument many times, where Becca's argument is the CMA is to help you get the list. And I don't disagree with that statement, but to me, it's very important to like, if I can tell a buyer, I know what a listing is gonna sell for within a 5% margin there, and no other realtor can, right? I want to be able to say that.
Yeah.
And until today, I didn't think it was possible for a human to do that. But now I'm starting to think it is. Although there's agents.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're smarter than us now, those agents. They
Well,
really
that's,
are.
and that's argument thing back. It's like, I think you could build a program sophisticated enough that it can do it. I don't know if a human brain can, but I know that a computer can, if it has enough data. And I feel like you helped me with that argument. I also think that human brains can do a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
This is good.
I think we're all right. We're a close second behind computers.
Good choice.
So Greg, what do I have to
You're
do?
coming to Summit, right? Come on, Greg.
to
I
get-
actually have to go back to watch my kids, fortunately.
What do I have to do to get your list?
Just create your own, do one sample CMA and then create your own adjustments based off of that. So go to the sales per month report, go into that report and then grab 10, a sample group of 10 is usually pretty good. Within one often condition. And then when you go into those numbers, you have your whole beds, your baths and everything. You can go in and average out those numbers and divide the value. And so now you have a very good baseline value. So once,
When those numbers changed, the adjustments changed, I somehow just spitballed it in my head. It's been working, but I actually need to get better at actually doing it in theory. I'm sorry that I was heckling you.
oh, you're good. I like it because it means you're paying attention. Most people in my class are just sleeping. So,
I wasn't asleep at all. What's an RV pad worth on the side of a house?
right?
No, I'm asking you.
I mean, it depends. And
I
that's
mean,
the problem.
It used to be like 1,500.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
And the archive values, I think, put it at 5,000 now.
okay,
And that's where it's like, wait a minute, what's the real number?
okay.
And so the archive values really are a good baseline. They're a
I'm-
great place to start.
In my head, I'm just like, how much would that cement cost? A lot, So I just bump it up several grand.
Yeah. Right? It's such a pain to come to those conclusions. And the bigger pain is that we as agents aren't taught to go at this approach.
Right.
And that part drives me insane.
So if you have two homes, let's say they were all built in 2000. Basically the same home. One has a garage, one has a two-car garage, one has a two-car carport.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
On the 2-car carport versus 2-car garage.
Right, same home.
Yeah, I would typically only adjust for the walls. The functionality still exists, but the walls and the storage space now. So if you're going into the MLS and you're doing sales per month and you see the value of carports, divided over the value of garages, then you'll see that the carports are probably going to hold around a 50% value versus the garage. And so if you say the static value of garage and your sample group is $6,000, now they have 2 carports versus 2 car garages. Well, now the data is pointing to they have a $3,000 superiority versus the $3,000 inferiority of the subject.
Okay.
Does that
Yes,
a little
that
more-
helps a lot.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
It's the sample group's the hardest part to really get working.
So the last appraiser I talked to, he said we're only doing things within the last 30 days. And he said it doesn't really matter what you do with the square footage as long as you have the square footage. Like this bedrooms versus living space is really not that different.
Yeah,
Is that true?
it's the problem I've seen is the appraisers, like I said in the beginning of the class, appraisal management companies are fading out and they created a barrier of arm's length. Now the appraisers are having more contact with lenders, or at least the principal lenders, and they're giving the value based on the contract and not on an actual data approach. That is so bad.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of your offers lately have cut, the appraisal comes in at exact purchase price or offer price?
Oftentimes, yes.
That's a problem. It should never come in at that, but it's
Yeah.
happening.